Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We are back here in the atrium with the second part of the installation of this Worth gardening, I guess, grow wall, garden wall. And so we've got, I got the rest of the pots installed. I've got everything else set up in here. So we need to finish adding some dirt today, and we need to put in our water system. So let me show you where we're at and what the plan is, and then we'll get right to work, get this thing set up. The previous video had the installation of the majority of this with the wood backing and getting the majority of the pots installed. I was just a few rows short. I had 3 more rows I needed to put on the top there, and so I got those extra pots and put all that in. And so I need to fill the top with dirt and then a few layers at the bottom here. I went ahead and got a piece of 5-inch gutter from Home Depot and cut it down to size, and I just siliconed the end caps on, so hopefully that'll work. So I've got my pump sit right there in the end. I'll let all the silicone dry while we get some of the rest of this done. Plan will be I bought a few fittings. We'll have to adapt from the larger tubing that came with this pump and adapt down to the smaller 1/4-inch tubing, or it might even be 3/16 tubing that came with the system. The tubing from the pump is going to come up the side here, and then we'll use some of these T's. It comes with all this tubing. We'll run across a couple, probably one in the middle here. We'll run a tube through here. We'll see if we can run it behind the pots and get a T put in each one of these pots all the way across. And then we'll run one all the way up to the top, and we'll have one at the top. So the idea is to have one at the top and then one somewhere halfway in the middle here, just to kind of distribute the water a little more evenly. But let me show you from the top here how this works. So at each one of these pots on the top row, we'll have the T here, and it'll actually spray down. I'm going to clamp it right to the back here, and so it'll spray the water right down behind this. So you don't spray it right into the soil. This will all be filled with soil. It doesn't spray right in the soil, make a big muddy mess. It sprays behind it, and then if you take the insert out here, you can kind of see the water level just kind of sits in the bottom there. And this is the drain that goes down to the next layer. And so this one right here drains right behind the next pot below it, and then it does that all the way down. These little filters will keep extra soil or other things from pouring down through it, so hopefully keep the water a little cleaner as it goes through. And this way, the bottom of the soil just sits in that water, and it'll soak it right up into the soil, and the roots can get at the water that way. So these can be removed and cleaned, or removed and you can repot or whatever if you want to put different plants in. We're going to actually plant a lot of this from seed today once we get all these filled with soil. But one thing I did find is that sometimes the water will pour right out of this hole, and it'll go right down behind it without a problem. But at the last couple seconds of it draining, sometimes the water just kind of hugs the back of this little spot there, and it'll actually kind of drip water on the back side of this. And so I want to make sure that I'm going to put a little bit of silicone in each one of these little keyholes wherever there's a drain above it. And so I'll put some clear silicone in all of those and just kind of seal those off, because I don't want water running down behind this. That is why I put this plywood on the back, but I'd still like to keep it as clean as possible. So I should have everything I need. So I'll get the silicone put in this first so it can dry while I start working on the other parts of this. Let's get to work. Well, what we have found is, unfortunately, I really wrecked that gutter. But this pump, the pump that I have here, it says it'll lift, it has a head capable of 13 feet. This is only 8 feet, but it will barely get anything to drip into this first pot. It just doesn't have enough power. And I think it's because of the reduction in tube size. I would think that that would actually increase the head, being a smaller diameter tube, but these pumps are just, they're just not really meant for this. They're meant for smaller fountains. The other problem with this pump is that it actually, it sucks in from the front. It does not suck in from the bottom, which is what I thought. I didn't look closely at it when I purchased it. So even if it did work, the gutter would have to be almost filled with water in order for it to function. So I beat the heck out of this gutter because I actually bought a new pump, and the measurements, complete measurements weren't online, and so I took a little bit of a gamble here, and it wouldn't fit. And I tried to round this out on the end here and smash this bigger pump in. This is a sump pump or a trash pump. This one will draw right from the bottom. It'll draw down to like 1/8 of an inch deep. So this is the right pump, but it won't fit in my gutter, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do for now is just kind of adjust this system a little bit. So we'll get rid of the fountain pump for now, and I'll use this the sump pump in a bucket of water. We'll set it right next to it, and I'll just use the gutter as a catchment. So it's just going to catch the extra that drains out, and then that'll just evaporate away until next time I fill it. So the nice thing about using this pump also is that the whole system comes with these little hose adapters. And then I'll just screw it down here, and it connects right to this 1/4 inch tubing. And so I can just connect that into my system here, and this pump should have plenty of pressure to get that water up to the top. Right now I'm gonna close these ones off. So I got there's plugs that come with these. So I plugged off the center row. And so that's just going to force all the water up to the top, and we'll just let it drain down that way. Now I filled the entire system with water, just with a watering can up at the top, and you can see all the soil is nice and moist. So it draws that water up from the bottom, and it soaked the soil in really well. So let's make this quick switch here and see how the new pump works. So what I was finding was the first one in line and the second one in line, they're getting a lot more water pressure than these last two. And in fact, before I put the clip on that first one, we weren't getting any water here at all. Now we're getting pretty good flow. But I'll still probably add a clip to this second one and slow that flow down a little bit. So they're all draining down here. It looks like they're all filled up to about somewhere right in here. And it just fills up the bottom, and then it overflows into the next tray, and then the next tray, until it gets all the way to the bottom. On my second 5-gallon bucket full of water, and we're just getting to the bottom, it looks like. Well, it actually works a lot better than I thought it would. With the smart switch here, I can just come down and either just press the switch and let the pump run for a little while, or this is actually a smart switch, so I can control it from my phone. And I can actually, with this one, I can schedule it. So I can actually let it run, say, for 5 minutes twice a day, or for 2 minutes twice a day, or something like that. And then I just need to come down and just fill the bucket up every once in a while. So This, in order to fill it initially, I don't know how much water it took, but it took a lot. There's a lot of water stored in the bottom parts of each one of these pots. And I just filled up 2 of these buckets and drained it almost to the bottom. So that was 10 gallons that I put in there. Plus I had already pre-filled them earlier. So there's a lot of water. I bet you there's a good 25 gallons of water stored in all these pots. There's 216 pots in all on the wall here. And once the water finally trickles all the way to the bottom, we get a little bit of extra that drips in the gutter, and then that just is kind of a catch tray that it'll just dry out or evaporate. I probably will just cut this off where I screwed it up and just move the end cap over, since I'm not going to use it to put a pump in there, and so that'll kind of tidy that up a little bit. But I actually do like having this bucket. This is actually going to work out a lot better. I'll get a lid for this, cover this up real nice, but this is a perfect place for me to add nutrients. So I can actually add hydroponics nutrients to this water, and then it will distribute it evenly throughout all the pots and get it all the way to all the plants. So obviously, if you were doing this outside with this system's really meant to be outside, you wouldn't have to worry about all this. You can just hook this thing right up to a hose and a hose timer, and it'll just let it run for 5-10 minutes a day, twice a day, and it'll just keep all these full, and you never have to worry about it. It'd be perfect hooked up to a garden hose. So this is the fun part. I get to plant 216 pots. So I've got a few things I grabbed. Actually, I was going through Walmart the other day, and they had these in the produce section. They had a couple basil and rosemary plants I grabbed, but I'll plant a few of these in there. I actually have some of various kinds of grains, little grasses, that I'll plant along the bottom there, because our cat is going to probably eat what's along the bottom anyway, so I may as well plant something that the cat will enjoy. And then my wonderful dog just knocked over all of my seeds, so I will dig through this, and the plan is to make a mix of leafy greens and maybe some real shallow root crops like radishes and stuff like that grow real fast. And then we're also going to put some flowers. My wife's going to plant some flowers kind of randomly out throughout here too, so it looks nice but also produces some food for us. So I think we'll get quite a few salads out of this thing. And what we end up with is 216 planter spaces. We have tons and tons of food growing in this little space, and all self-watering or automatic watering, so everything will stay nice and healthy. I'm really excited to see everything growing in here, and so I planted a ton of different things, some herbs, some leafy greens, kales, and different lettuces, and Swiss chard, and some onions and beans, and all kinds of different things. And I left a few different places in there where we can put we've got some ivy and some flowers and some other stuff we'll plant throughout it, so it'll kind of look nice here, down here as well. These planters from Worth Gardening are available on Amazon. I put a link in the description, and I'll throw a comment down so you can easily find them if you want to check them out. You can get any size, make any size wall you want. Ideally, these would go outside on a wall, or you could even build a post structure that would hold these on the back side of a garden or between two trees. There's all kinds of different things you could do on a south-facing wall of your home or a shed or something like that. So I hope to get more of these down the road and actually do an outside one as well. But I'm excited to see what we can grow in here. So I'll give you guys updates once things kind of start to grow, and in a few weeks we'll We'll see what sprouted, what didn't. We'll replant the things that didn't. I had a lot of old seeds and some cheap seeds in there that I'm just trying to get rid of, so we'll see. Some things may not germinate real well. Some of the seeds are 5 years old. And if you have any questions about growing things inside or any of the other things we have going on around here, I'd love to hear. What would you guys like to see next as far as indoor or outdoor gardening as we head into spring here this season? As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.